We're girlfriends of a certain age. In midlife, we got a lot to say. So let's get loud. We won't fade away, 'cause we're girlfriends of a certain age.
Hey, girlfriend. Welcome to Girlfriends of a Certain Age, a podcast for women who are living out loud in midlife.
We are girlfriends in real life, and each week we explore how to recover from being good girls and how we can live our best lives together.
So, Shay, what exactly is a recovering good girl?
Well, Jess, it's someone who used to care way too much about what everyone else thought about her, and now she doesn't give a bleep anymore.
A little about us. We met in our 20s when we danced our butts off in the club together.
And now we're dancing through life together as friends, entrepreneurs, podcasters, authors, and mothers in midlife.
I'm Jessica Neighbor, and I'm a voice coach for vocalists and public speakers. I run impactvocalcoaching.com. I'm on Instagram at Impact Public Speaking, and you can find me on YouTube at Voice Coach Jessica Neighbor.
And I'm Fleshay Hesh. I'm a business coach and work-life balance expert for moms. You can find me at thebusymom.us or on Instagram at Work-Life Balance Mentor.
Every week, we discuss a hot topic, including culture, relationships, and health, to help you live out loud.
If you identify as a recovering good girl or as a girlfriend of any age and you want to join our conversations, do it. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and girlfriendsofacertainage.com.
Oh, and join our free online community where we'll share bonus content and after hours conversation on substack.com. Just search for Girlfriends of a Certain Age at substack.com.
Hey, girlfriend. So good to see you again.
Oh my gosh, we're back. It's season 3, y'all. This is so amazing. I'm so excited. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, Jessica.
Welcome back, Fleshay. We were just giggling, saying, oh, it's been a minute. Here we go. Let's get our podcast back on. And I'm so excited and just proud of us for having 2 seasons and starting off our season 3. And we are so excited to be doing it with all of you girlfriends of a certain age. So I just want to give us, before we dive into today's juicy topic, a quick little plug for our fabulous t-shirts that we're both modeling for you today. The Recovering Good Girl. This overall topic that we come back to in all of our episodes. And so we are wearing these shirts with pride, and you can as well. You can click on the merch link and get your own cute copy. And Fleshay designed these, and we love them.
It's really fun. And I just want to see more pictures of our girlfriends wearing their shirts. So please, when you get it, send us a picture of you looking like hot stuff in your shirt. We would love to see that and share that with the community. And I want to say that because so much of the work that we're doing is really about building our community and inviting more girlfriends to join us, I want to personally invite you to join us over on Substack, which is our online community. And it's completely free to join. There is an opportunity to help support our pod if you are so inclined. And girlfriends over here would be super honored and excited if you did that. But we just want more opportunities to deep dive with you, to hear from you personally and directly. And so come do that. The link is below over in Substack, or just go over to substack.com and look for us at Girlfriends of a Certain Age, and you will find us there.
Love it. Can't wait. Can't wait. So we planned out season 3, and we are so excited to start this off with our mid-year check-in about those New Year's resolutions that we did at the beginning of 2023. And if you kind of went along that journey with us, we're mid-year now, reflecting back. If you haven't listened to that episode, it's a really fun one. We have very different perspectives on resolutions. I'm for them, and Fleshay's not so sold on them. So it's a really interesting perspective on them. And you can listen to that from the first episode of season 2 if you want, but you don't have to. It's not required. And we're going to get into it. So, Fleshay, as we just bring up this topic about, mid-year resolution reflection, what does that bring up for you?
Well, when we were planning this out, my first thought was, I love checking in on my goals. And so for me, it's something I do all the time. I actually even do it every week. Am I making little steps toward my bigger goals? So I'm not a big, bite off more than I can chew kind of lady. I think also being this age, I want very realistic goals with a lot of wiggle room for myself. So I love the idea of checking in. I'm very excited. I'm also pleased. It gave me a chance to think bigger because I am sharing this publicly with girlfriends of a certain age. And I'm really happy with where I am at this point. It's kind of my high level first thought about it. How about you? What are you thinking as we're getting ready for this episode?
Yeah, well, it was really interesting to go back and listen to our overarching themes. Yours was queen, mine was honor. And I also feel like I have been able to, do it. There's been some challenges, but it's really working out well. And I always think a mid-year reflection is so great. The one shift I'm making is from a noun to a verb, because at the beginning of the year, I wrote down honor, and I realized that what I really meant was honoring.
Ooh,
honoring myself, honoring my boundaries, honoring my friendships, honoring my family, honoring my business. And how that's been showing up has been a great theme for me, but it's an active thing I'm doing daily, right? And checking in with that inner voice going, is this activity, thing, task honoring my bigger picture or not? And just, I feel like getting a little bit wiser at listening to that inner voice that goes, yes, a hard yes, or no, a hard no, right? And that has felt like it's a muscle that I'm developing. And mid-year, I'm like, yeah, I'm looking a little more yoked than I did in January when we started. So that's really exciting. How about your theme of queen? How is that showing up for you?
Similar. I do find myself checking in more, especially when I'm starting. So I'm getting faster at spotting when I'm stretched too thin or I'm getting overextended. And so I'll ask myself, I'm starting to feel it. Okay, my heart is racing faster, or I'm thinking I can fit in one more thing in my day that I don't really need to. What would a queen do? And if I am my most queen-like self, what do I want? What do I desire? What am I needing in this moment? So that's why I love archetypes so much, because we can sort of lean into them a little bit. And so I've been doing that a lot. So recently we had some guffaws with school, and I had this opportunity to take on too much. And I found myself really, no, I don't want to do that. No, I'm just a no. And that's my answer. No explanation. But my inner queen was like, yep, there we go. Yeah, keep going. Keep saying no. So I'm very grateful to myself to be able to catch that. And it's interesting too, because so many people in my life know that that's my word. I hear them kind of talking in that way too. And it reminds me of the expression that a rising tide lifts all boats. And that if we want to see change, we need to be a stand for it. And of course, you and I have this platform where we get to yammer on about the things that are important to us, and friends and family and our extended growing community is hearing that. And so we're all bringing each other forward. That to me, that is so much what I want this pod to be and our work together here.
Absolutely. I think that's so in alignment with what we're both calling in our life's purpose. I mean, when I think about queen and honoring, both of those words have a very similar theme, that we are recognizing what's working for us and what's not working for us. And I think an older version of myself would think that that was almost selfish, would think that that was self-indulgent, right? My old kind of taskmaster grinder, young Jess, just push through all those feelings. Just, you got to do it. You got to do it. And now it's like, and it's an evaluation that's daily, isn't it? By the end of my day, I go, how'd that feel today? What worked? What maybe, did I overextend at any moment? Or, ooh, yeah, that really reinforced what I like, right? So it's like it's an ongoing, ever evolving process. And I love that about it. And I love that really it is like that expression, you put your own mask on if you're in the airplane before you do to anyone else's. And what I've noticed too is in this year of really honoring myself and my boundaries, I've been able to honor everyone else around me more because I have more air in my tires.
Yes.
It's a win-win.
Right. And for girlfriends who are hearing us talk about this and they're saying, easy for you to say, I can almost hear voices saying that in my head. You're right. It is easy for us to say, but it wasn't an easy process to get ourselves here. And I feel like there were these moments of like you pulling me along, me pulling you along, other people in our lives pulling us along. So I want to say it's simple, but not easy to get into the place, but it just starts with an intention. And like, how do we want to feel throughout the day? How do we want to be perceived? How do we want to perceive ourselves? So for girlfriends who do feel stretched too thin, who don't feel permission to honor themselves or their time or their commitments or honor themselves by saying no to some commitments, I've wanted just to remind you about starting slow. With small things and, join our community, be in it with us. We would be happy to give you feedback on ways to get you closer to where you aspire to be.
Oh, and it is a challenge. So one of my big goals was around weight and not weighing myself any longer. And I am proud to say today that I have not stepped on the scale once this year. But did I want to? Was I so tempted? Did I question that whole exercise at the beginning of the year? You better believe it. And it's really interesting to see when that urge comes up. And it's usually when I'm in my more stressed out, vulnerable state. So what I'm identifying is this is not a good habit that was actually serving me. This was something that would reinforce something funky in myself. But it was hard. And there are still moments where I'm like, should I know how I weigh? But I'm just going by like my pant size. Like I can get a general sense. But I recognize, and I listened to another podcaster and she made me feel so happy. Jamila Jamil, who does this beautiful podcast called I Weigh. And you answer that by saying what matters in your life. So I think for those of us who recognize that our relationship with weight got a little funky, that has been a great reinforcement. So not only am I not stepping on the scale, but I'm going and finding those communities of people who are like-minded, who are also recognizing that for them, and everyone's different and everyone has a different journey, that wasn't actually a positive reinforcement thing. And you know what, Felicia, I realize in myself that before, when I would weigh myself, I might be feeling great. I might be feeling sexy that day and hot and good. If I weighed myself and I wasn't the number I like, it would shift my whole mood.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, talk about giving something else power outside of ourselves. This scale with this number, it was just weird. It just got so funky, and I'm sure we could analyze it and go all there with it. But just to say, I haven't done it, and I'm proud of that. But has it been hard? Heck yeah. Yeah. I'll fully admit that my little compulsive part of myself has wanted to go there. And the less I do it, the stronger that other part of me that recognizes I don't want it. It's like breaking up with an old boyfriend, right? It's like, I'm good. I'm good without you.
Well, and I mean, to me, what that reminds me of is recovery, the process of recovery and how we start to slide back and our ability to overcome some habits that we want to change. I almost called it a bad habit, but I don't want to use that word because it has such a negative connotation. But the habit of wanting to do it, and I can feel myself leaning forward, and then you catch yourself and you pull yourself back into you.
Yes.
And how am I feeling? And it also reminds me of the process of being a recovering good girl. It sounds to me on some level like a good girl knows her weight. A good girl keeps herself in check with her weight. And so how subversive to your, inner recovering good girl self to be like, no, that's not what matters. A thing I've been teaching my children is that, how we don't talk about people's bodies and how our bodies are kind of the least interesting thing about us. And how we even can do that to ourselves and make a story about our bodies and our weight, all of these things, and giving them more power than it deserves. And so I'm really hats off to you for being in that recovery process. Because I think we're all always in a recovery process.
Yes.
It never seems to end.
No, absolutely not. It is. It's a daily practice of whatever that is for us. And it can shift and change, but it's always there, which frankly, I think makes life interesting, right? What if we could just figure it all out? What if we wrote down these resolutions or goals or whatever, and we just were like, check, check, check. I mean, I don't know, that's not very interesting to me.
It's actually not. And the journey and how we interact with our own journey and our own story that's a very rich place. As someone who spends so much time thinking about her journey and her inner self and her inner life.
Totally.
Oh, I feel so much better after doing your vocal warm-ups, Jessica.
Ooh, me too. I am ready now to speak on our podcast and not get all tongue-tied.
I feel more calm after doing your breath and speech exercises.
You are so right to feel that way. Did you know warming up before you speak is actually scientifically proven to help you feel more calm?
And how do you know this?
Well, as a voice coach of 20 years, I see how helpful it is with my public speaker clients. And a public speaker is anyone who speaks in public, which includes all of our girlfriends.
I never thought of it that way.
If you want, you can have your own copy of my public speaker checklist so you can feel this way every day. My free gift to you.
Ooh, thanks. How do I get a copy?
Ooh, you just click on the link in today's show notes, sign up, and you'll instantly get your own copy.
Thanks, girlfriend.
Stay calm and speak on, girlfriend. Girlfriend, sometimes I can get so stressed, I wonder if I'm burning out.
I totally understand. Burnout can be tough, but there are things you can do to prevent it.
Really? Like what?
Well, I'm leading a 5-day challenge that will help you to unleash your potential while tackling burnout.
That sounds amazing. How does it work?
Each day, you and I will focus on a different aspect of your life that's causing you stress. You'll learn how to manage your time better, how to say no to things, and how to take better care of yourself.
That sounds fab. Just like what I need as a recovering good girl.
Yep. The challenge is free, so there's no risk in trying it. You can find the link in today's show notes.
Ooh, I'm going to sign up right now.
Yay! I'm so glad to hear it. You and I can kick burnout together.
Hey, girlfriend.
Hey, girlfriend.
Oh, I just got off a call where my other girlfriend was so confused. She is in a relationship. They're at a crossroads and she's a little divorce curious at the moment.
Ooh, what did you tell her?
I mean, what do you tell a girlfriend? It's their decision. I just wanted to be there for her and support her, but I didn't want to tell her what to do.
Well, of course. Well, it reminds me of my dear friend, Tamara Mendelson, who's a relationship coach and divorce expert. She's divorced herself and a mom of 2, and she walks girlfriends of a certain age actually through a process of being divorce curious. Because some of us are just angry. Some of us are just feeling stuck in our relationships. But I'll give you the link and I'll leave it below for girlfriends of a certain age as well. And they can get free, immediate access to this roadmap and find out from Tamara what their next steps are.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so helpful. I will definitely share that link with my girlfriend. Thank you. Amazing.
You're welcome. And I'll link it below for all the girlfriends listening.
Awesome. So I have a quick question for you. I was re-listening to that episode. You talked about eating this same breakfast every morning, about how it's like your grounding ritual, because we all love our rituals, right? Are you still eating the same breakfast?
I am. I am. It's like a modified avocado toast, and I love it. Some days I make it really fancy. I'll like saute up some mushrooms and kale and put lemon juice on it and top it with that so it looks like something, out of a Pinterest page. And some days I'm like, ain't got no time for that, just eating it the way it is. But yeah, I'm still eating that breakfast. I do change it up sometimes. Like today I had egg tacos. Like, ooh. Cliche, very edgy. But that was because I was asking myself, well, what do I want? And what I really wanted was the fancy salsa from my favorite taqueria that I have in the fridge. And I was like, oh, I want to use that. So I do still check in with myself. What do I want? What do I really need today? What feels good? Like, what do I have on hand? Or the avocados need to be eaten. I'll make the avocado toast sometimes, but today I really checked in with myself. So there's like similar theme to the breakfast that I eat. And that would have felt like death to me a couple of years ago, eating the same kind of breakfast. Oh, how boring. But for me, I've just really been noticing how I feel after I eat certain things. Like when my kids still want to eat a big ass plate of pancakes, I'm like, oh, I can't. I will feel terrible.
Totally.
If I eat that.
My boys eat waffles every Sunday. It's like their ritual. And I wanted to be so down with waffles because they smell amazing and they're just crispy and the way that butter melts into each little square. But if I eat a waffle, I just feel awful afterwards. It's like carb overload. So yeah, I've got my oatmeal that is also kind of my tried and true thing. And it's my happy place. I also find that there's so much decision fatigue that there's some nice things to just keep on autopilot as long as what you're saying is true that we do, which is checking in and going, how's this autopilot thing feeling? And I laugh at myself sometimes. I'm like, am I really having oatmeal again? And I'm like, yep, I am. Right?
Yeah. And I think about all the years I spent just eating whatever, either what I grew up eating for breakfast or what I thought I wanted, not asking myself, and then also not noticing the connection of feeling sluggish or feeling tired or feeling bloated or feeling cranky or sped up or whatever it was from the food.
Yeah.
And now slowing down, I can actually have a conversation with myself. Hey, Flachet, what do you want? Why do you want that? How's it going to make you feel? How'd you feel last time you had it? Oh, well, all those things seem like a yes. Let's have that for breakfast today. So I think that's so important to always be checking in with ourselves and giving ourselves permission to change it up.
And it's
I call that eating intuitively.
Eating intuitively. And it's a great example of these baby steps, right? Of how we can continue to be in recovery as a good girl, because all of these little things have like, oatmeal, whatever, avocado toast, big deal. But what are the implications of either eating what's right in front of you out of convenience? Oh my gosh, when I think of my old self, it was just like kind of grab and go and chaos and like not really a groove. And so there's a bigger practice that, we're getting to when we do just these small little things that I know all of us can relate to this. It's like we have that quick moment where we're like, should I or shouldn't I? Right? That little quick moment. A good case in point of like a decision that kicked me in the butt the other day is Paul, my husband, makes the most delicious smelling coffee, and coffee does not agree with me anymore. And yet that smell was like, Pete's Major Dickinson's just gloriousness. And I'm like, I'll just have a cup. It just smells so good. I had tummy trauma the rest of the day.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
We won't get into any details, but that's why I don't do that. Right. Ding, ding, ding. So it's like we all kind of can relate to those little moments when we're like, I'll just have one, or I'll just do this, or today's different. And it's so like, guess what? Today you're still you.
You're still you. Well, and it makes me so curious about our girlfriends. So what are you noticing? Is it around your alcohol intake, or are you still smoking, or are you like, what are the things that you're in recovery around? And share that with us. Leave us a comment down below, join us in our community so that we can all be in this together, because I know that Jess and I are not the only ones. We are not the only ladies of a certain age who are in this conversation and who are using our active, vital life force energy to try to be as conscious as we can in the moment. What are we thinking? What are we ingesting? How much are we resting? All of these things that are so important, I think, as we age, to be very mindful about what we need.
I totally agree. I also love this time of year, Flachet. I feel like the beginning of summer is such a beautiful time to reset. So let's just plant a couple of seeds for fun. I know that I'm calling in a slower pace, right? This end of school year season is just manic mania, both for my kids' schools and for my work. I just had a big vocal showcase that was awesome, but
took a ton of work, and my live public speaking workshop series is wrapping this week. Like all of it is coming to a close. And I know that for summer, a lot of us are still working, but what are we calling in to set a different tone? So for fun, I'm definitely calling in swimming, reading, and resting. That's what I'm calling in this summer. And of course, there's lots of other things that are unavoidable, but when can I swim? When can I read? And when can I rest? And those are my goals. That's what I'm calling in.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I'm a big yes for you having that. And I can't wait to see some evidence of your swimming, reading, and resting.
Or all at once, maybe.
Maybe all at once. Absolutely.
What about you? What is this? Is there anything you're calling in for this next season?
So all of those sound really good to me. We have some fun adventures planned. And, my kids are at such a fun age and stage where I don't feel like I have to hover around them in the same way that I did when they were younger, like camping trips or, like the toddler wandering off or something like that, and everyone's getting so capable now and carrying their own packs and things like this. So I'm really excited for this more mature, these family adventures. My youngest now is going into 3rd grade in the fall. Like he's not a baby anymore.
And your older is going to go into middle school. Hello, transition.
From elementary school, heading into middle school. So it's just really big. Yeah. And so I love that I have the flexibility by running my own business to be there with them. I call a lot of it Camp Mom. Yes. But it's interesting. Normally I don't book up a lot in the summer. This year I did a little bit. I took a page out of your book, pre-planning my camps. I tend to hold off on that because I have this weird guilt because I don't have to have my kids in camp. I have this idea that I'm leaving space for all the working moms who do really need it. And then I come and pick up the crumbs that are left over because I have that flexibility. And I have so many working mom friends who just get so frustrated they can't get into the camps they want. And I just think, I don't want to be a part of that. But I did get my kids in more camps this year, waited my allowed time. So I have quite a few weeks where I still get to deep dive on my business and work on my book and all the things that I'm working on right now. So I'm really excited for this real mix of like stepping up some work that I've put off and of course, stepping up my swimming and my reading and my relaxing and just being with my boys. For me, that is really why I started my business was so that I could absolutely be that person for them. But now that they're older, they don't really want to spend all day, every day, with mom hustling them around or entertaining them, which is a really interesting developmental stage for me too.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I have such a memory because my boys are a few years ahead of you, right? They're 13 and 15. I also used to lovingly call the summers Camp Mom because I have some flexibility as well where I coach less during the summer intentionally. But man, there came a point where Camp Mom just broke down. Like Camp Mom was not cutting it. I was exhausted. They were bored. We would get to like noon and they were like, what's next? And I was like, I'm done. I'm tapped out. And that to me was a huge sign of like, oh yeah, like I'm not omnipotent. Like you got to go out there and forge your own camp experiences. Like it's such a great child rite of passage too, right? And so it also allows us that time to have our own full selves. And I think a lot of moms, I think what you're bringing up is a really interesting conundrum for most moms because so much of summer falls on moms. Yes. And if you ask me, summer vacation is kind of nuts for modern day, like working lifestyle. Like, where did we decide that kids should have 10 weeks off, but average worker should only have 2 weeks off? Like, what the heck? I mean, if you ask me, Felicia, we should all have 10 weeks off. Right? Absolutely. Like that feels very good. And I know there are countries in Europe where like they take the whole month of August off and the whole family gets to enjoy each other. And we've just created this wonky old school system that I don't know who it's serving, but it is not really working for most of us parents during the summer. So summer brings up a real mixed bag for most of us where we're like, oh, yay, like fun with the kids and like, oh, endless days with the kids. It's a lot.
Exactly. What are we going to do? When are we going to do it? It is a lot. And it's an area where I see so many moms struggle.
Yes.
Talk about guilt. And
Yes.
you're right. The nature of work absolutely has to shift. It absolutely does. There's just no way that this is sustainable. And it hasn't been for so many.
Right. Exactly. So many things. Well, I love this episode and I love just checking in. And we also just invite you all to take this moment to think about what were your resolutions at the beginning, and are they still true for you at this midpoint of the year? And if they're not, think about what needs to shift and change, and also celebrate the things like we're doing that you've been rocking and that are really working for you. Because I think that loving ourselves and celebrating ourselves, again, is not a selfish act. It is absolutely part of us building up this new, powerful, grown ass womanhood. And let's do this together. So let's honor what we've accomplished, because that's awesomeness. So I love it.
I love it. And I love you. And I love our girlfriends. So till next time, ladies. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for hanging out with us today on Girlfriends of a Certain Age. This episode was produced by Jessica Neighbor at Impact Vocal Coaching and Phil Hesh at The Busy Mom.
This podcast jingle was written and performed by Jessica Neighbor. Do you have a girlfriend who needs to hear this message? Share this episode with her. She will love you forever.
If you enjoyed today's talk, join us in our private community on Substack at Girlfriends of a Certain Age.
You can help us reach even more girlfriends when you take 30 seconds to subscribe and rate our channel on Spotify, Apple, or YouTube so you never miss another episode.
Stay tuned for more episodes where we discuss more hot topics for all of you, our girlfriends living our best lives together.